Super job, you guys, on that music. Good morning, I'm Kara. I'm the Director of Children, Youth, and Families here at the chapel, and thank you all for being here for Pageant Sunday. It's perhaps the cutest Sunday at the church. Always wildly unpredictable, which is what makes it so fun. So we are about to get started. I just want to thank Kimberly Simon, who directed this year. She did an amazing job and is going to do an amazing job. And thank you to Debbie Shore and Barb Wilson for just all their costume support and help. So enjoy.
This is a reading from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 2, verses 1 through 7. About that time, Caesar Augustus ordered a census to be taken throughout the empire. Everyone had to travel to his own hometown to be accounted for. So Joseph went from the town of Nazareth up to Bethlehem in Judah, David's town, for the census. As a descendant of David, he had to go there. He went with Mary, his fiancée, who was pregnant. While they were there, the time came for her to give birth. She gave birth to a son, her firstborn. She wrapped him in a blanket and laid him in a manger, because there was no room at the end. This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God. This night is like no other night. It is a time to dream and sing our way to Bethlehem. The children will show us how to go. The little town we seek sits in a hill country some 10 miles south of Jerusalem. For thousands of years, the houses have gathered there on a hilltop like a family breaking bread. Bethlehem means house of bread. In the center of the village is a small inn. On this night, it is overflowing with people seeking sleep and a place to eat.
Checking in. Your room's that way. Thank you. Checking in. Your room's that way.
Hi, checking in.
Your room's that way.
Mom's speaking.
Behind the inn is a dark stable. A gray donkey chews his barley and broken straw, while a weary cow leans and rests after a day's plowing in the valley. A sheep nearby is nearly sleeping.
Everything was quiet in the little town.
Above thy
As night gathers, the last two travelers come slowly up the road. Look, there's a young woman about to be a mother. She is walking with her husband. They are Joseph and Mary from Nazareth. They have walked for 6 days to come to the city where King David was born so long ago. They have come, like so many others, because the Roman emperor wants to count each one so he can take their money as a tax.
$100, $200, $300, $400. Oh, darn, I can't even keep track anymore. What am I going to do? I have to start all over.
But it is late, and Mary is so weary. Where will they sleep? There is no room at the inn. They decide to sleep with the animals. Stars brighten slowly in the sky.
All creation holds its breath.
Suddenly, from the stable, come the cry of a newborn child. Mary gently wraps the baby in a blanket and lays him in the feed box that his father had filled with straw. In the hills outside of Bethlehem, shepherds watch their shadowy sheep. All at once, the dark is lost in light, and in the midst of light, something even brighter, the faces of angels. The fearful shepherds then hear music in the sky.
Do not be afraid. Listen, I bring you news of great joy, a joy to be shared by all people. Today in the city of David, a Savior is born. He is Christ the Lord.
Then more angels appear, a whole heavenly host of them, praising God and singing.
Glory to God in the highest. Earth, peace, goodwill to all people everywhere.
The shepherds run with joy across the fields to Bethlehem, to the barn behind the inn. There they find the Holy Family and creep forward, overwhelmed with mystery, to find the Nativity itself in the center of all that love. 3 camels plod up the road to Bethlehem. They had come from the east, far beyond the Arabian desert, perhaps from as far as the Caspian Sea. The camels carry 3 kings, the wise ones, the Magi. They are following the wild star, the destiny they had never seen before, and they are following it wherever it goes, to find the king. Its shining shows them. The king's journey ends in a new kind of king. Their restlessness rests at last. They fall to their knees and give him bright gold, sweet-smelling frankincense, and bitter myrrh, brought so far with so much love. So now we all come, following the star, to find God with us. We come as people have come through the ages, to bring our own gifts to this child, God's gift to us. Come forward now, bring your gifts of stars and of yourselves to place around the manger. Show us the mystery of Christmas as we sing, for this night is holy and filled with overflowing silence. Merry Christmas, peace on earth.
Awesome job, you guys. Awesome job. Great job. Oh, as the kids work their way back out, you'll be able to congratulate them afterwards. That was good. That was very, very good. So just as a wrap up here, I will say, when I say that was good, it reminds me of another time when we heard those same words. We go back to the very foundations of our faith in the book of Genesis. It talks about how good this world is, how good the faces of children are, how good this community of faith is. God created the heavens and the earth, and it was good. God created the light and the darkness, and it was good. God created the earth and all of creation, everything in it, and it was good. And so I don't use that word lightly when I say that was good, because I think it is great for us to acknowledge and to notice God's goodness in the world. And it's hard to miss with all those faces that were up here just now, those amazing, beautiful faces that are just filled with joy. And the joy that's on the faces of everyone watching them. As we lit the third candle of Advent today, it represents joy. It's pink because it means we're halfway through the season of Advent. But someone in his probably infinite wisdom years and years and years ago decided that this Sunday of Advent would be one where we focus on joy. So I always think it's so apropos that we do a children's pageant on this particular Sunday where we're supposed to be focusing on and recognizing and feeling joyful. And so I think that that joy that we have is not a sort of, happy-go-lucky kind of joy that we're supposed to have day in and day out, because that's not real life. But I think that joy is supposed to be a deep and abiding joy. And I believe that joy comes from the fact that God is so good, and that everything God has created is good. And that is where our hope comes from. The hope of the future, the hope that's in the eyes of these kids that are here, the hope that we know exists even in a world that sometimes seems out of control. And so I hope that today, as we focus on our joy this coming week, this third week of Advent, that we will remember the hope that comes from a God who is good and who makes all things good, and that is where our joy derives from, and that sustains you in the weeks and the years ahead. So with that small little wrap up to our awesome, good pageant, let us pray.